Morning, everyone. My name is Pascal Hamelin, President and CEO of Bonterra Resources. Bonterra Resources is a gold advanced exploration company based in Northwest Quebec. We got 3 deposits and we're drilling. We released a resource estimate in June 2021 with over 3 million ounces of total ounces of gold. And we're presently doing a PEA, which will be released in Q4 2021.
Fantastic. Pascal, welcome back. How are you? You well?
Oh, very well.
Good.
Very interesting summer. Very busy for us, drilling and advancing the PEA right after the resource estimate.
That's why we're here. We're coming. You said you delivered the PEA in Q4 before the end of the year.
Yeah.
I want to know what you've been up to since we spoke, I think early July, actually. What you've been up to. We've seen a few drill results coming out, quite nice. You've put out the 43-101 on Gladiator, Barry, and Moroy deposits. So what can you tell us about what you've been up to and your expectation on delivery of that PEA in Q4?
Yeah, so before we completed the resource estimate, we gave the mandate to SLR to do the PEA right after the resource is completed. So because it's the same company, in May, the mining engineers from SLR were able to access the database and the geology model from the geology department from SLR. So they started working with the block model and doing the mine design. And that's what the mining engineers have been very busy doing throughout the month of July. Well, even in June, July, August is mine design. So let me explain. Mine design is you got a geology deposit, you got a certain geometry, you got to look at different mining methods. What's the best mining method for each deposit? What's good for Gladiator might not be good for Barry or Moroy. So you got to look at each one of them. And of course, the 3 deposits starts from surface. So the first thing you got to look at is there an open pit on surface. So the mining engineers did that trade-off. Of course, they're all going at depth, so there's an underground portion. And that's what the mine engineers have been very busy doing. And of course, they're applying different cutoff grade for each deposit based on the mining method. So we're all on that. Very soon, we're going to be starting the cash flow model because the surface design, camp, mill, tilling facility, that was done in parallel with the mine design. So it's all advancing. All the cubes are falling into places. So Q4 is very achievable to deliver the PEA to the market.
Okay, so you're confident about being able to deliver that in terms of the report. Is what you're going to report to the market meeting your expectations? Have you had to make any adjustments in your thinking?
Well, of course, the goal is to have a good margin. So a quick payback on your investment. There's no point having a 40-year life of mine with assets that are going to be mined and the cost in 20, 25 years from now. So what you're looking at is like a 10, 15-year life of mine from 3 deposit feeding a central mill. So the focus is on higher margin areas of your deposit. And then to deliver that quick payback for the investment. So that's what the PEA is going to be focusing on. It's going to be the 3 deposit feeding the bachelor mill. That's what we're going to be looking at in this PEA.
Right. Okay. So, but I'm just so interested in the size here because you're talking to the market about 3 million ounces, which is a nice big number. You've got some very interesting neighbours in and around you that people are looking at. I think particularly of Windfall, for instance. Are you? And it's probably actually worth remembering. You guys had sort of one of these sort of extraordinary offer the end of last year, didn't you? At about 160 a share. It was kind of one of these things of, I can't quite remember the details, but it was something like they put an offer in on Friday night and said you need to make your mind up by Monday morning. Was it something like that?
Yeah. It was an all share offer with the share conversion. It was the equivalent of an offer at $1.60. We received that offer on Friday evening, and it was expiring on Monday. And so we looked at it. We called an emergency board meeting on Sunday night. It was assessed. The offer, of course, it's not up to us. We're trying to see what's best for our shareholders. So with the help of the legal advisor and financial advisor, we tried to extend the expiry date, the expiry time for that LOI, and we were not able to come to a positive conclusion. So the offer expired, and we disclosed it on the following Wednesday. Typically, when you have an offer that just expired, you don't disclose anything. But we were in the middle of a capital raise. So that's why it was disclosed on Wednesday, and we told the market, that we received an offer that expired, and the equivalent was $1.60. So we disclosed that, but we didn't go any further than that because you got to be careful. We're a public listed company, so that's what the legal advisor recommended us to disclose at the time.
I'm an ex-banker, right? But that's a fairly unusual type of offer. I'm going to let you make your decision over the weekend without necessarily being able to consult your shareholders, no vote on it, for instance, in the middle of a capital raise in the first few weeks of you being a CEO. It must have blown your head off having to deal with that. Well,
that's why you listen to others. You consult, you look for legal expert, you look for for financial experts. We had very good people supporting us. We had RBC supporting us in this process. We had Osler from Montreal and Vancouver supporting us as well. So that decision, like that offer was looked at it seriously. We looked at it. We were serious about the process, and the offer expired. Now, if the same person came back with another offer to us, we would take the same process again. The call a board meeting, discuss it between the six of us, including the officers of the company, and of course, legal and financial advisors that are totally independent from the company. We would take the same process, and that's the way that you got to do it. So it was a learning curve for me, but you got others to support you in that, and at the end it was the right. Well, we raised the money. We got the support from the existing shareholders, so. And came the AGM, all the directors were reelected, so the shareholder demonstrated the support there. So now we have a standalone plan. So we're not waiting for M&A or offers. We did the resource. We're continuing to advance the deposit through geology, drilling. A lot of quality geologists are working on these three deposits, and now we're advancing the engineering. We're going to publish a PEA. This fall in Q4. That PEA is a snapshot in time. We're going to continue the drilling before the PEA and after the PEA, because the PEA, it's a snapshot. So there will be more drilling. There will be a lot of things happening in the future, but at least we're advancing the knowledge and the financial quality of these three assets.
For sure. And I want to talk about that one, but I also want to help people understand the difficulty, the restrictions, legal and regulatory around decision makings that you need to make. And I just thought that was quite interesting that within the first few weeks of getting there, you put in a pretty tricky spot where, one, I think as a banker, I'd go, that's a very unusual scenario. I've never seen that in terms of that limited time frame for a public company, at least anyway. Seen it in the private world. And you're in the middle of a raise. So there's things that you can do and you can't and you can't do, and the things you can say and things you can't say. But you've also got to weigh up the legitimacy of the individual and the legitimacy of the offer, because it was not a binding offer. It was one which may have disappeared as quickly as it came. That's what you were trying to weigh up, or was it?
Yeah. So anyway, like it expires. That's it. So we move on now. Of course, it's an interesting camp. So between us and our neighbor, we're getting closer and closer to over 10 million ounces of gold within 50-kilometer range, So there's a lot of gold in that camp, and there's two companies. So of course it's attracting attention, and of course you're going to see things happening. But us, we're advancing, we're doing our things, and we're developing. So we're going to continue that.
Okay, you don't want to look back, you want to look forward. Okay, fine. So
exactly.
So whatever happened, is the best outcome that you could have made given the restrictions on you. Okay, I'll go with that. I talked about Windfall, quite close to you. You've got also people like the Agnico Eagle seem to be very big in Quebec. PEA, you're going to get the PEA out in Q4 at some point. Is that a point at which you would want to receive offers? Or do you think, given what you're seeing with the drilling, that you want more time to move this, advance this through some additional studies? I mean, how far do you want to take it?
We're gonna continue. We got good supports. The PEA, it will trigger something in the other companies head, but on our side, it's a milestone. So we're going to continue moving forward. We have the shareholders. We have Quebec pension funds. Quebec, la Caisse de dépôt et placement of Quebec. We got Wexford. We got VanEck. We got Kirkland Gold, MMCap, Fidelity. So they understand the value of gold, and they know we're doing it in the right sequence. So they're going to be supporting us. Of course, it will take time. You're not going to build overnight, but you're taking the right process, and then that's going to create shareholder value in the long run.
Okay.
And if M&A happens before, so be it. We're going to look at it, but we're not chasing the offers.
Right. Wexford, you mentioned Wexford there. They're shareholders. They've got a board seat, as I understand it. They're still buying in the marketplace. I mean, what do they want out of this? They don't want to sit in this for a long time. They want to be able to, turn their money and move on to other things, do they?
Well, of course, they want to make money, like every investment funds. And they believe that having gold asset in Canada is an excellent investment. So that's why they're buying market, and they're not afraid to support the growth. But they're going to do it the right sequence. We're doing the PEA. Wexford is going to revisit their investment when they see the PEA results, and they're the largest shareholder, but they're not insider. They don't have access to all the information. They have the same information as the rest of the market. So
even with the board seats, that's really
well. They're the two directors are consultant for Wexford, but they're not employees of Wexford. So they talk to the Wexford investment fund, but they're not disclosing information to them. So.
Well, they must be disclosing something. Explain how it works, because they must be disclosing something, because Wexford keep buying, right? They're still buying now. So Wexford obviously liking what they're hearing, but what they're picking that up in the market from your press releases, or what's the extent of what the consultants can tell them, which is any different from the market information?
I cannot speak for Wexford because I don't talk to them, but they must see that we're at $30 an ounce, and the acquisition, or like the producers in Canada, they're closer to $200 an ounce value. If you look at the enterprise value per ounces, it's closer to 200. And the M&A environment, it was all over $150 Canadian. So, and we're sitting at, 30 US, so let's say 40, 45 Canadian, So, and if all the acquisition were over 150, Wexford can add, they say, well, even it takes 3 years to get my money, I'm going to go from 30 to 200. So it's a good investment.
Okay. How much money have you got today?
We've got about 8 million in the bank.
Okay. So you're good till when?
We're good late fall, So there will be a capital raise before year end, because once the PEA is out, we're going to continue the drilling. We're going to continue to advance the engineering. So yeah, there'll be more capital raised in the future, but it's to grow the asset. It's to keep getting the shareholder value up and getting there will be another resource estimate eventually. We're drilling. So following that drilling campaign, we're continuing to do expansion drilling. We're not focusing on infill yet. So this investment that the shareholders are making, it's to grow the asset.
But you're going to have to play that quite cute, aren't you? Because I guess if the market was good, you'd go and raise as much as you needed to kind of get through to a PFS stage. The fact that the market is, well, you guys have done okay. So you've been moving sideways, where most gold companies have been on a downward slide, 20-25%. We've seen worse than that during this last 3-4 month period with gold companies. So you've done okay. So obviously people liking what you're putting out, but it's still not at a price that you like. I mean, for instance, I think when we spoke, you were like 139, 133, you're at 120 today. So it's come off a little bit. But you don't want to be raising money at 133, do you?
Well, we'll continue. Like, we're going to do the PEA. We're going to assess where we're going to be at the time. And then, let's focus on the PEA first. That's where my energy is going. Of course, to get the story out, we need to, if you have a good story, but no one knows, what is it good for? So we're going to focus on getting the story out. That's why I'm talking to you, Matt, this morning. And, and focus on the PEA. That's where my energy is. And of course, we didn't talk about it very much, but we're continuing to advance the permitting process with the Ministry of Environment for the mill expansion. Okay. But the priority and on the critical path for the assets to grow is the PEA.
Okay, I 100% get it. You're laser focused on the PEA. Can you then give me a little bit of detail? Because you talked a little bit about what you're doing on that one. Questions sent in around bulk sampling. We talked about it a little bit last time, because you have done some in the past. You said you're going to revisit. You're thinking about whether you do that going forward. What part does that have to play with the different targets that you've got going forward? Is bulk sampling part of the solution that you're using for the PEA, or is it something you'll come back to and revisit later?
We're going to revisit later. The PEA, like the bulk sample for Moroy is done. Moroy, it was easy to do a bulk sample. We had the access to the deposit. It was just a matter of drilling and blasting. So very low investment for ounces that you could sell. So actually that bulk sample at Moroy generated a positive cash flow. Barry would probably be the same thing, but a larger investment, because you need to do the development towards the mineralization. You need to do the proper drilling. You don't do a bulk sample in an inferred category resource. You got to drill it properly, so you got indicated, measure in the indicated resource, and then you do a bulk sample within that zone. There's a lot of energy. You know what that means? That means cost, and that cost is going to be equity raised on the market. So do you want to do a bulk sample at $1.20, or do a bulk sample after the PEA when the share price, I certainly hope, will be higher than $1.20. So you got to consider that element when you say, well, when do we time the bulk sample? And for the PEA, we didn't need the bulk sample at Barry, because there was 600,000 tons of material processing at the Bachelor Mill between 2008 and 2010 from the Barry deposit. Yeah, it was open pit. It was a different mining method, but we're going to do a bulk sample at Barry, but it's going to be to test the mining method, to verify the engineering parameters from a PEA or from a pre-feas, So that's what Barry's going to be. So not in 2021 for sure.
Okay.
Now Gladiator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, please go on, Gladiator.
So Gladiator, Yeah, Gladiator also is going to need a bulk sample but first, what you need to do at Gladiator, is you need to go underground. That's the first phase. So we're in the permitting process right now to develop a decline. Once we get the green light from the Ministry of Environment, we're going to drive the decline down, and then we're going to drill from underground. So we have year-round drilling that we can put at a tighter space, so you can increase your indicated category in certain area of the deposit. And then from there, we're going to apply for a permit to do a bulk sample. Once you go underground, that doesn't mean you can do whatever you want in Quebec. You're going to need to apply for a license to do a bulk sample, just like my neighbor did. My neighbor did the same thing. They're actually, I think, on their third bulk sample permit. So you need the blessing from the Ministry of Environment in those processes. So Gladiator is going to be a little bit later because you need to drive down anyway. That will take almost a year to drive a decline to the proper depth.
Right. Okay. So I think that's been useful for you to explain. Sort of, there's the technical benefit of doing a bulk sample is what you would be doing it for. You wouldn't necessarily be, this is a cash generative exercise to kind of help pay for other costs, because it seems quite complex in terms of putting yourself in a position to be able to do the bulk sampling when you should be 100% focused on the PEA, which is what you said you are. Understood.
There's a lot of deposit where the management team didn't do the bulk sample. I like the first that comes to mind is Red Lake. There was a project the company was called Rubicon.
Yeah.
And they went there, went underground, build the surface infrastructure, and then they go in the geology. The largest asset is your gold, so the geology of the deposit, and then they spend all the money on everything but the geology. So you got to de-risk the asset. So, and that's what Battle North did. They went down, they looked for the right mining method. They redid their resource. Yeah, of course, they took a beating on the market for a few years because of that. But, Battle North put it back on track, and they were acquired by Evolution this summer, So the bulk sample is essential phase of growing the asset and de-risking them.
But not for you, not now.
No, we're not. We're too early. We're good. Like, there's been no engineering done on this deposit yet, so we're going to do an engineering, and then of course the engineers will say, you know what, this is a sector where you could do a bulk sample, and then we're going to look at it then, and then do the detailed design for the bulk, and then present it to the authority.
Perfect. Well, thanks for the update. I just want to make sure you're still on track, because I like the story. I just want to make sure you're on track. No red flags, no bumps along the road between now and then. When you come back and see us soon, when you're either nearer getting the PEA done or the PEA is out. I appreciate the update today. Thank you.
My pleasure. And have a nice fall.